discovering a curse with being a photographer on YouTube. Every video I create takes an eternity, pulling me away from what matters most, being out here documenting. I kept a stopwatch running each day, tracking how many hours went into editing and color grading my last film. I literally spent 137 hours on it. Mostly because I was learning an entirely new color grading workflow, and I made about 1,000 mistakes along the way. But it was literally 2 weeks of being holed up in my apartment, deep in a video editing rabbit hole. All day into the night. All night back into the early morning. Rinse and repeat. Day, night, day, night. Hours fly by like minutes. Video editing truly is a time warp. Making my last 2 videos in March didn't even feel like I was existing in the real world at all. So for this video, I wanted to do something different. I wanted to challenge myself to shoot, edit, and post a video all within a week. I've had a bunch of ideas written down that I just haven't acted on. One of them was making a video with this vintage lens I've had for over a year, but still haven't used. The lens is the Helios 44-2, a classic Soviet lens known for its imperfections, like soft edges and that signature swirly bokeh. This particular one's been modded with an anamorphic cine look, which gives it a unique character. I'm not going to dive deep into specs, there are already a million videos on YouTube about this lens, but here's a quick summary. It has an oval insert that gives the bokeh that anamorphic look, plus a bit of fishing line to create horizontal flares. Shooting street with this lens should be a real challenge. It's 58mm, fully manual, and not a focal length I usually use. To really highlight its character, I'll have to shoot with wider apertures. With all that being said, let's see what this lens can do. First of all, if you made it this far, thank you. It can be hard to keep people's attention nowadays, especially in a world of short-form content, but I'm really happy with my personal progress and growth on this channel, and I'm glad these videos are finding their audience. So, what are my thoughts after using the Helios 44-2? Well, everything from this video was from only 3 or 4 days of shooting, so I actually wish I had more time with it for this video, but obviously it would be an hour long if I did that, and would defeat the purpose of me having this deadline for myself. But anyways, I absolutely love the results from this lens for the most part. It has a low contrast, soft look that just feels filmic somehow, and I'm obsessed with the bokeh and distortion around the edges when shooting wide open. I definitely prefer this lens more for video so far rather than photography. Since I like to shoot layers and stuff, sometimes the distorted edges can be a bit distracting in the images. Of course, this is less pronounced with larger depths of field, but I would probably just use a different lens if I'm shooting that way. I shot most of the daytime photos in this video anywhere from f5.6 to f16. I started to learn how to zone focus with it, but it was really difficult with the small zones at apertures below f8 or f11. I tried my best to include some photos wide open, but man, it is tough with manual focus, especially at f2. Because of this, I found myself fishing more rather than hunting, which I usually tend to do. I actually enjoyed this a lot and found a lot of new compositions that I usually walk right past. This makes me really want to start shooting with longer lenses more often instead of swearing by my usual focus lengths of 28 and 35. One regret that I have is that I wish I shot more at night for this video. I really struggle with the manual focus at night at f2 and I don't have much to show for it. Some other notes, the anamorphic flares can be really distracting and actually ruin the images in some instances, like if you're shooting towards headlights or if there's other bright light sources around. But other than that, no real complaints about the lens itself. I highly recommend picking one of these up if you're interested. They're pretty cheap, you'll probably have to get yours from Ukraine, which I did from eBay. I'm definitely going to be taking this lens out more and incorporating it more often into my filmmaking. So yeah, that's enough rambling for now. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments what you think or if you've used this lens before, and see you all in the next video. Have fun shooting out there. It's getting really nice, the weather's nice, the city's feeling good. Yeah, excited to get out of this apartment, take my eyes off of this video editing screen like I complained about in the beginning of the video, and I feel like it's happening again with this video, so never-ending cycle. Need to get out in those streets. Yep. All right, bye.